everybody, and welcome to Gamers Without Borders. It is Saturday, April 16th, 2011. This is Test Zero, and unfortunately, Oi could not be here today because he's off fighting the second half of an ancient medallion. So I am joined by Kotaro from Gaming on a Budget and Duke CT of Duke CT Lounge. How are we all doing this afternoon?
Great.
I'm doing pretty well. It's nice to be here.
Good? Okay. Probably our biggest piece of news today, which broke just a couple of days ago, I believe Thursday night, Friday morning. The rumor of the new Wii console, which people are calling the Wii 2 or the Nintendo HD, has not been confirmed by anybody at Nintendo. They replied that they don't comment on rumors and speculation, which is it's just buzzwords, really. But several news sources have backed up the story. So, and here's a rundown of the current rumors of the product. The Wii 2, codenamed Project Cafe, will be unveiled at E3 in June. It will be more powerful than the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. It will be backwards compatible with all current Wii software. The gamepad will feature a built-in HD screen, which will be able to stream content back and forth between the console and the controller, as well as motion controls. This is cool.
It is.
Yes, and I cannot wait to get into it, and probably wait, wait until like the store's trying to get it all, because I really am excited because people are mocking the Wii, the graphics and everything else, but the real thing I'm worried about, and one thing I think most of y'all actually need to, none of the people hopefully get questions asked, is the all online capabilities, because as much as I like the Wii and everything else, the online stuff. The friend codes.
It's shit.
Yes.
The online is shit.
And I'm not, and I credit Nintendo trying to be proactive, say, you want to make the friend codes, trying to, weed out the, the bad things online and everything else. But I think even now, with the way they basically abandoned the friend codes and such with other games like, the GoldenEye, 007 for the Nintendo Wii, Conduit, all this stuff, they basically abandoned the friend codes and basically just said, okay, let's just have the people connect. So I think that's going to be that's going to be something interesting for E3. Are they just going to continue on that path, or are they going to just have some type of friend code or something?
It's like the Wii, their online stuff is just so draconian. You kind of wonder why they even bother putting it in there. And they have the settings on the 3DS. You can set your status, like this supposed messaging system that they teased about. It has a total of 16 characters. That's it. That's less than fucking Twitter.
Yeah.
Why even bother? I mean, if you don't want people to communicate with each other, don't let them. Why are they going to tease us and say you can create automatically sent messages, but they'll only be sent to people that you actually talk to? So it's like, if I'm actually talking to people, why do I need to send them messages? Why wouldn't I just talk to them on Skype or something?
Yeah, Nintendo kind of has to get their shit together. They've done good. They've really innovated with the Wii. They've They have a fantastic library on the DS, but and I guess they're going to continue to push forward with this, but they really need to get their shit together when it comes to the online.
No, that's true, and I'm really hopeful that in the next couple of months, where where everything else is back and everything else, I think it's going to be real positive in the next couple of weeks and months coming to E3. That's going to be really, I think it's going to be something we have to look forward to. Is not only
E3's going
online.
to be big this year. E3's definitely going to be big this year.
And also, yes, and not only that, but you have to look at the entire, just look at the entire thing with the gaming industry. Not to get off topic, but where's the whole digital downloading and everything else? What is Nintendo going to do about these new ideas? Because they are, having, the WiiWare and everything else. They're being proactive in that arena. Hopefully, when this new Wii 2 drops, this new Wii HD, which I don't know what type of control stream or anything else,
Well, it says that the controller will have it'll have a built-in HD screen. Somebody described it as an iPad with buttons.
Hmm. Doesn't the iPad already has buttons?
The iPad only has one button. And it's just kind of like a all-purpose menu button, but it's like
Yeah.
it's got like a touchpad. I'm assuming it's something like the bottom half of the DS.
Hmm.
It's got like the touchpad, and then you have the buttons as well. And it's got like an HD screen that they say HD, but I can't imagine that would be kind of expensive in a small handheld. But I think that's really cool because I like the idea of having a separate screen that only you can see. It
Yeah.
reminds me of when you're playing the games together on like the DS or the GBA reader on the GameCube. Games for
Yeah, that's gonna be
like Four
Yes.
Swords
interesting.
Adventures,
And
and well, I guess that's it.
this
Uh,
this console may be the perfect place to remake Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. That was a great game. It was both the
Crystal
first
Chronicles, that's
one.
another game that did it.
The first,
I
well,
could
the
really
first one
also
was
really see
awesome.
this being used for card games,
Well, I'm just thinking the original
Oh,
Crystal Chronicles was
like
amazing,
casual
but it was
card
so
games.
restrictive with
Like
the
you,
hardware. So,
like
you know,
if you look at the Xbox 360, you have Uno that comes with the arcade console. I've never played it because you only can play one player against the computer because otherwise the opponent can see your cards, and
yeah,
it's like that's stupid.
seriously, what's
Um,
the point?
well, you can play it online, but
Yeah.
you can't do that with the arcade bundle. So, but I mean, something like that. I think that's just a really neat idea, and it worked well with the DS. And I believe they had games that worked with the DS interacting with the Wii.
I can't think of any, but yeah, I think there were some. Oh, you know another game that
I
was,
believe Rock Band did, or Rock Band or Guitar Hero on tour.
oh, Zelda Four Swords Adventures did this as well, with the two screens on the GameCube.
That was the GBA and the GameCube though.
Yeah,
But there was a game that worked with the DS and the Wii that it would interact with it, and you could actually control the character. You could use the I remember, yeah, that was a Guitar Hero on tour. You could use that as a separate controller in the Guitar Hero Wii game.
hmm.
and you gotta look into the future of what this is going to be. You gotta look at what Nintendo Wii is gonna have to do. I just think that if Nintendo is smart enough, because last time they got a huge lead and everything else, they faltered. Because recently before the Wii, the GameCube was not really a success, and the last big gaming company that was had this big type lead was the PS2, and
And the PS2 was fucking huge. The PS2 had like one of the best selling consoles ever.
yes,
I
and
still
see
have
what
mine.
Like
happened.
at least in terms of modern consoles.
Yes, and
I think it was like the third best selling console or something.
people are still buying it, and
Yeah.
and to me, this has had to be something Nintendo has to be real worried about is what happened to Sony afterwards. As they relied too much on high def technology, they relied too much on it, and you see what happened to the PS3. They
Yeah,
went,
well,
It took a while, but the PS3 is gaining momentum. But
yeah.
that first couple of years, it
it
was
was
just dead
gone.
in the
It
water.
was
Well, when
It
yeah.
you
was
look at
dead in the water.
Well, when you look at Nintendo, you gotta say they are working on the innovation, but it's kind of Virtual Boyish, not to that extent. But look at the 3DS. Like most of the people are, using them and then turning the 3D off like after a couple hours and then not touching it
Because of the
again.
battery life.
Well, I don't think it has anything to
It's
do with
mostly
battery
it's the
life.
problem with the battery life, yeah. But I've actually seen the 3DS. I had a friend who had it at a party. It looks good, but he says the 3D works if you just accept it. Don't like try turning the thing. It's 3D. It's not 3D. It's 3D. It's not 3D. I'm nauseous now. Uh,
Yeah, I
you
think
just
you
look at the
got
game, just accept it, and it works fine in 3D.
But just
But
so
yeah,
what I
battery
like,
life
I
that would
don't.
be another
Well,
issue.
from the launch titles at least, I don't think the 3D really adds much. Just it seems like just a pointless added gimmick. I mean, I'd be fine with a 3DS if it didn't have the 3D, but just as a whole, hopefully the new gimmicks for the Wii 2 won't be so restrictive to developers. And if it's another Virtual Boy, then at this point Nintendo is probably going to die.
I
They
don't think
really
it is a Virtual Boy. I think the next 3DS is not a Virtual Boy. It has sold a heck of a lot. A lot of people bought it because the
I'm not
Nintendo
saying it's a Virtual Boy.
DS.
I'm saying that it's just they need to be careful now. Nintendo can't get complacent anymore because they're kind of having some financial issues at this point, so they really need to be careful and really impress the hell out of us with the Wii 2. Or,
I think with the Wii 2, it's something that they're kind of trying to do. I have been expecting this. Um, I've been expecting something like this to come for a while. It would be a console that is both a console and a handheld. Like the controller itself, you could carry with you and play games on it, or that you can get to the console, sync the two together, use it as a controller, play the console stuff with it. Data will transfer, you unlock stuff in the game, take the data with you, play it on the road.
that would actually
Bring it over to your friend's house, play your character against them,
that
level
would
up
be
your
awesome.
character, go back to your home game, continue playing it there.
Honestly, that would be perhaps the ultimate console game. That would be, yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I've always enjoyed the the higher power of a console as well as the convenience of a portable. So combining the two would create perhaps the ultimate game platform.
And I believe that's what every developer wants to do, and I think that may be what Nintendo is on to.
And that's
But
what's going to
only
be it, and that's going to really push what Nintendo is going to do. Because at the end of the day, I feel Nintendo has learned their they learn their mistakes, learn from their mistakes.
Nintendo always learns from their mistakes. That is one thing you can say about them.
Yeah,
They experiment, they make mistakes, and they learn from them.
usually.
And this also coincides with the Wii price drop, which was rumored a couple days ago and then confirmed, and it should be hitting various stores by Monday. The Wii is dropping to 150.
Hmm, you know what? Honestly, if you don't have the Wii now, you're not going to get the Wii anytime soon. But if you need, because when I see that, I mean, it's only for people who A, have not bought a Wii yet, and B, people who need a replacement Wii or something like that.
Yeah, or people who want to homebrew their Wii but also still actually play on the real Wii.
Mm,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the one question on everybody's mind: how will this compare to the Microsoft Nova?
mm,
Dude, seriously, enough with that.
Uh,
It's
mm.
the 16th now. Just drop it.
uh,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, it was an April Fool's prank that TZ and Oi played on April Fool's Day.
Oh well.
yeah, we put it. Yes. I thought it was. People didn't think we put any effort into that, but we really did. We came up with a name that sounded plausible. We came up with launch titles that sounded plausible and gimmicks for them. People said we put it together in like 5 minutes. No, we spent about 3-4 days working on it.
I honestly,
Mm.
I believed it for about 5 minutes, and then I realized, oh wait, it's April Fool's Day. But it was pretty clever, I have to say. Um, I've never been fond of April Fool's jokes, but it was a well done one.
Anyway, moving on. Portal 2, which is scheduled to be released on midnight on Tuesday, may be coming sooner than we expected. A recent publicity stunt by Valve parodies the Folding at Home project, where everybody who plays any of the 13 games in the Potato Sack bundle contributes to a sort of arbitrary computation power and allows GLaDOS to quote unquote boot the game faster. It's a marketing ploy, plain and simple, but it's actually pretty damn cool. Imagine if this actually worked in real life. If you wanted to speed up the production of a game you're excited for, you can offer your computer's downtime for idle processing. To say like Blizzard for Diablo 3 or
Yeah,
Gearbox for
that would
Duke
be
Nukem
incredible.
Forever.
Hmm.
That would be incredible. But this is just I am a fan of ARGs, and this is a nice one, especially given that I can actually participate this time because I own about half the games in the Potato Sack.
I own a few of them, not too many. Let me check them. I have Audio Surf, which I'm not actually a big fan of.
I like that one. It's nice, relaxing. Just if you want to.
Yeah, I just it's the problem with Audio Surf is I'm playing it coming off of Guitar Hero, and in Guitar Hero it goes completely against your instinct to miss any of the boxes. But in audio surf, you kind of have to pick and choose what you're gonna pick up
That's
because that's how you get good combos.
that's why I play mono because it's just
Yeah, I play mono mostly. That's kind of my favorite mode.
it's more fun that way. I think.
Also, Super Meat Boy. I've played that. Somebody actually gifted it to me. It's very nice of him to do it.
Oh, that game is
I
fun.
Yeah, I
I,
like it,
oh,
but the controls kind of stick
That's
sometimes.
the
I don't
point.
know if it's because he's made of meat
That's the
or
point.
if it's my controller.
They're supposed to be slippery.
It's not quite slippery, but like you press the jump button and you don't jump.
I've never encountered that. It
must
might
be a
just be your
controller,
controller.
man. But honestly, I haven't played any of these indie games. I should.
You should. There are
Like
some great indie games. Some of those are
yeah,
great.
I do. I should. It's just that I just but right now classes and everything else, which
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
passing. By the way, I barely have time for the AAA stuff.
Well,
But
I've been addicted to Reckless Disregard for Gravity lately. It's fun.
I've seen that game. That actually game does look pretty cool. But the thing that does bother me is their quote unquote follow up game, Kick It, Drop It Like an Ugly Baby, which first off, I'm surprised that name hasn't gotten more controversy than it has.
Probably because it's
And
a indie
I
game, so
think they're
no one's
actually
heard of it.
disappointed that it didn't, because I think they were hoping that it would get controversy and thus free publicity for the game.
Yeah.
But additionally, the game just basically looks uh, like Audio Surf fucked a reckless disregard for gravity.
Well,
It really doesn't
honestly,
look all that much. It really doesn't look all that much different from Ah.
frankly, a music-powered game is kind of difficult to kind of difficult to make. And with being fun and only having about 81 levels, once you've completed all of them, there
Only
really is no other reason to play it. So this is great.
only having 81 levels.
It's got 81. Hang on. It's 81 levels, but each one takes about 2 minutes to play. So
Still, you can play them again for high scores. I mean, you look at Super Meat Boy. That has like 200 levels, but still, that's
well,
still.
you know what I mean. When it's not the kind of game that you can play forever. And then that's I guess where 1, 2, 3 Kick It comes in, where
Well, I mean, you could even compare that to something like Guitar Hero. That only has like 50, 60 songs with the DLC, or maybe or less if you're looking at the stuff before the online releases. And those songs are only like 3, 4 minutes a piece. But then you could just play them again. You could play. I don't know if Ah has multiplayer, but you could play them again. You can go for a high score. You could try to out win your friends.
can I just try to make
That's
my
how it gets
point
the
here?
playthrough out of it.
I just try to make my point here. It's kind of like an unlimited mission pack in that you can just manipulate the music, make whatever levels you want. So it's basically adding unlimited levels to which
Yeah, fair enough. But I don't know why they would have to make that as a separate game. I would think that it could be just like an add-on to Reckless Disregard for Gravity.
well, I've looked into the programming, and making a game that responds to music is really complicated. So that kind of justifies it, I think.
Eh. Still, I just think the game seems a bit lazy. Nothing against the developers or anything. I know they're kind of like early indie developers, and Ah is getting really good reviews, but um, Drop It Like an Ugly Baby just
It's
kind of
only
looks.
their second game, and hell, you don't fault Valve for only making first-person shooters.
Yeah, but they
drop it
make
like a.
spectacular first-person shooters.
That's just crazy, man. It's crazy stuff. Hmm. Oh man. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing because I'm completely out of my league with this.
You have nothing to say about these.
No.
Okay. A recent change to Garry's mod targeted all pirates of the game. If you tried playing it without having paid for it, you received the error unable to shade polygon normals, followed by a string of numbers. Those who posted this error on the stream support forums found themselves banned because it wasn't an actual error, and the numbers were actually their Steam ID, so they were very easy to track down that way.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
This is. I mean, I know this is just as ingenious as what they did with Batman Arkham Asylum on the PC. If you two remember that one.
you have to. I know there was something with it, but I don't
So
remember exactly what it
the
was.
game was leaked before it was released, but they had programmed in an intentional bug where he would lose his glide jump ability about halfway through, thus making the game unwinnable. And then when people started posting that bug on forums, they said it's not a bug in the game; it's a bug in your moral code. But yeah, that was for people who pirated it, the game would be unwinnable. However, they forgot to remove the bug from the retail release, and it had to be patched out later.
Dope.
Seriously, still, that was a really clever way to do that as well.
Did they get it? Did they get anybody reporting the bug? There is no middle analog stick.
I'm pretty sure they must have at one point, but I remember actually looking down for the middle analog stick, trying to find it, because my mind was really screwed with at that point. That was a brilliant part of the game.
Well, honestly,
Very
that is really really good, and I wonder, this is what I like about Valve, man. They always thinking, man. They got these like, they always have they're like one step ahead, man. They hit
Garry's mod isn't really
guys.
Valve. That guy that.
Yeah, Garry Newman.
Oh, Garry Newman, man. See, that's what you got. You gotta have friends like that, and people on Steam, the people who run Steam are smart and be allied with that, man. Because you gotta be allies with some of these like hackers, because they know what's up, and
Yeah, they know how to trick people. I mean, these are the ones that would fool the people who aren't really good pirates.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, the good pirates or something. Or,
I'd imagine that I did read through a bit on how they managed to do it, but the only problem I have with this is, what if the game gave a false positive? What if you were playing the game with a virtual PC or something, and somehow you got the error on a legitimate copy of the game? Like, you actually did buy a copy of it, but you weren't playing it the way they intended.
Now, see,
Which is
bugs
kind of
like
hard
that
to
are
do.
rare, but
Which
developers
kind
don't
of
really
lends
care about
itself to
that.
something like Garry's mod.
I find
Garry's
that
mod, you're supposed to, like, play around with the settings to begin with.
Well, the thing is, you'll find in general that developers don't really care about cracking down on people who legitimately bought it. That's the whole, that's the whole downside to DRM, where it's just inconveniencing the people who buy it legitimately, and the pirates don't really care, and they don't care about that. The developers are more interested in cracking down on the pirates than in letting the legitimate customers play the game. I'm not saying every developer's like that. I mean, good old games make sure there's no DRM in anything in their catalog, but there's, in general, they just, at the end of the day, they're businesses and they're more interested in making money.
Unfortunate, but true.
Yeah. And DRM really isn't the answer, but
What is the answer?
I'd say the
DRM
answer,
isn't the answer, but we don't know what the answer is.
I would say the answer is just, enough with the DRM already. I know that, no matter how many people pirate the game, there are always going to be people who will buy it legally. Hell, I bought I might have mentioned this last time I was on here, but the Prince of Persia reboot from 2006. I liked the game, not as much as Sands of Time and such, but I bought it simply because there was no DRM in it, and I wanted to make that point.
Yeah, I mean DRM, man. I mean, I talked to my brother who's really a PC gamer. He says he can't, he does not, he can't do it. I mean, he actually had to do the actually pirated, Mass Effect 2. He's like, you know what, I can't deal with it. And again, he just does not want to deal with the DRM. So he does go for the pirated copies and such. It's a shame, and just hopefully.
It's just all they're doing is they're making it more appealing to be a pirate, because
They're pushing people.
you don't have this stuff saying don't pirate this game, but you didn't. The funny thing is, the stuff that say don't pirate this game, don't pirate this DVD, that stuff doesn't appear on the pirated DVDs.
Yeah.
I know, it's incredible. I'll buy, with all these games with this severe DRM, I'll buy a legal copy, but then I'll play a pirated copy. That way the developer gets the money they want, and I don't have to deal with the copy protection.
Yeah, we're kind of treading over old ground here,
Yeah,
but it is a very important issue for modern games. I mean,
it's gonna drive.
This is probably this is probably what is going to cause a big shift in just everything, because there's all this talk right now about changing exactly how game ownership is done.
It's
Like,
gonna drive
are
people
are
to the.
games owned or are they licensed?
They're gonna
I just
drive
think they're
people
owned.
to
You know,
consoles. They're gonna drive people back to the consoles. I don't think you can do that to the consoles because with disc and everything else. Maybe with the digital downloading they can do something like DRM, but I don't think it's gonna fly really well because and I don't want to offend anybody here, but I think there's a lot more console players than PC players. Imagine what would happen if, say, the next GTA 5, suddenly a mass release, had the same problem with the, DRM with consoles instead of, for the PC. You know what type of outrage would it be for people who just try to upload to their console and say, I'm sorry, you uploaded 2 or 3 times and it crashed on you and you can't upload anymore? They bought they waited till midnight to get the game and everything else and it freezes on their console. It will be, you don't know what type of, it will be a hell of a backlash. And
oh
honestly,
yeah,
I honestly think it would probably kill gaming though. It would probably kill gaming and you just,
Well, it wouldn't kill gaming. It would create a schism. It would create a situation where big time developers and indie developers have an even bigger gap between them. Like the indie developers would be the people that you would go to that you would trust. It's like if you can't if things aren't working out right, you do it your own way. It's like this episode of Married with Children. There was a baseball strike, and they missed baseball, so they got a team together and they played themselves. They broke into the stadium to do it, but they played the game themselves. And I would see something like that happening with gaming. If you don't appreciate what the big companies are doing, you would get your own team together, or you would play indie games, or you would support the people who aren't doing it, and that would be
yeah.
the big change in games.
That's
and
why
that,
I suck at good old
and
games so much because the lack of DRM. But with this pirate trap, I still have to applaud Garry for for this
Yeah,
brilliant.
I think it's a clever idea, and I'm guessing that the way they did it, there wouldn't be any false positives because it connects the names of the people who are playing the game to the Steam side to the Steam ID who actually downloaded the game because Steam will keep track of all the games that you've bought.
Yeah.
So if you're playing Gary's mod but you haven't bought it, you would get the error.
yeah, and that's what it is. And you gotta be too. You can't violate both sides. There has to be a happy medium, and you can't stroke the positive like, oh, piracy is great, or and DRMs are great. You have to find a medium, a positive and happy medium for people to come in to play their games, to enjoy themselves and everything else. Because remember, this is a recreational hobby, and people do pay full price for these games, 40, 50, $60. And if they don't get this thing, if they keep getting screwed, they are going to learn to lean to piracy, and I think it's up to these businesses, these PC and console and everything else, these gaming companies, that got to realize, like, you know what? Maybe this whole DRM thing is a bad idea. We need to do something that entices the player to come in and play, not to go for the not for the pirated copy. You have to make sure that you have to keep the customers happy. Don't screw around with them because honestly,
Well,
they
in the
will
end,
go for the piracy.
yeah, in the end, what's best for the consumer is best for the company, and really, selling selling a game is less selling a single item. It's I guess you could call it building a relationship. They say that more people bought Halo 3 than had bought Halo 2 or Halo 1. So you
I'm
can't
having
say,
deja vu. I went over this in a previous episode. Oh yeah.
yeah, you did. Scratch that. But the point still stands here that you're building a relationship, and people pirate, and then they may go out and buy the sequel. You should like your pirates because oftentimes you can't legally get a game anymore, or not where you are, and so you have no choice but to pirate. So really, this
Yeah,
equates to more people playing your game and more people enjoying your product.
it all goes back to almost stuff like Napster. We all remember the whole Napster debate back in
Yeah.
the '90s with people downloading music and MP3s, and well, early 2000s, I guess nothing late '90s, early 2000s. People downloading music instead of paying for it. Yeah, that was bad. But the thing is, the really small time artists, they liked that people were listening to their stuff, and they were still going to see concerts and stuff. I'm not quite sure what the equivalent of that would be in gaming, though. I suppose it would be people would be maybe pirating the game, but they would also be going onto their website. They'd also be interested in the next games the person was developing. It's that same sort of situation.
Yeah, I can say the last game that I pirated, in fact, the only one that I can remember in recent memory is American McGee's Alice, because you can only get that now secondhand at exorbitant prices. And the developer isn't getting any of that. And, with the upcoming sequel, unless we see a reprint of the game, then there really is no choice at this point but to pirate it. So I'm not encouraging people to do so.
Yeah, we're kind of treading over old ground here. So
anything else is just like, I mean, to me, I think a lot of people have covered this issue. Extra Credits already covered this issue brilliantly. Those guys covered it. This issue is going to probably keep going for as long as this DRM is still around. It's going to probably keep going when they're not around as well. So I think it was just best to... yeah.
So we can close today by just talking about the games that we've been playing recently. Kotaro, why don't we start with you?
Well, most recently, I guess I've been replaying through the Mass Effect games, in preparation for the third one coming out at the end of the year. They're great games. Everyone within the sound of my voice, if you haven't played Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2 yet, do so, because they're really unmissable. But then, it's BioWare, and they haven't made a bad game.
Dragon Age 2 maybe, but go on.
I don't know. Dragon Age 2 was okay, just not as good as Origins. But yeah, the Mass Effect games are brilliant, and I can't possibly get enough of them, I have to say.
I've been, what the hell have I been doing? I'll look it up later. Duke, have you been up to anything?
Oh yes, I've been doing some games. I've been playing some Crash Bandicoot 2. My
old school.
I've actually been playing this new Crisis 2. Actually, just got that from Amazon and playing that. And I'm just getting back into Bulletstorm, playing on a harder difficulty, and I'm just really can't wait for the whole Gears of War beta that's going to come out on April 18th and everything else. So it's going to be a real fun spring break for me.
Oh yeah, spring break's coming up, so you're just finishing up all your schoolwork and everything, so you'll be ready to just chill out during spring. I have been desperately trying to get my PC working again in time for Portal 2. I don't think I'm going to have it in time, but I'm trying, and there's so many games I want to play, even beyond Portal 2. I have the Elder Scrolls games. I have Oblivion. I'm very excited for Skyrim, even though my computer I don't even know if my new computer could handle it once I get it working again, but I really want to play Skyrim. I played a little bit of Audio Surf today. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of it. I tried Super Meat Boy again. Was kind of sticking around. I was just kind of going through a lot of my Steam games and just playing the games that I hadn't played yet. I played what was that? There's a free racing game, like Trackmania. Interesting concept. It's kind of micro races. You have like short 30-second to a minute courses, and you have to try to get the fastest time on them. And it's a free game, so you can like race against your opponent's times to try to get it. I was also playing Borderlands again because that's just a very well done, very addictive game. And I've mostly been playing it with my friend because I'd already beat it in one-player mode, and it's a lot better with friends.
Hey, don't you still have your 53? The rest of your 53?
Yes. So
get on that.
All right, man. This has been one heck of an interesting podcast, man. I have so much fun with this. I always have fun with this, man.
Yeah.
Alright, so, I guess that's it for this episode of Gamers Without Borders. Until then, this is Test Zero.
It's Duke CT.
That's all right.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Peace.